take a look at what price is doing, and price is rallying right now. But you know what? It looks like they're luring retail traders to take those long positions off of their hands. How's it going, fellow traders? Magic Trader here, and this is the latest CFTC data that was recorded on March 11th, 2025. We just got the data yesterday. I went through all the data, did some analysis on it, and I'm going to show you what the banks are up to. But first, before we get into that, let's take a look at the positions held by the institutions. As of that date, let's look at how positions changed over the previous week. So I like to look at the change column and see if there's anything that sticks out. And obviously there are some that do stick out for me, and one of them is this one right here. I see 99,000, and I look over to the left, and it is from the S&P 500. So a serious bullish move on the S&P 500. Now, we recently saw over the last few weeks price dropping, but this data is telling us that as price was dropping, the institutions have been accumulating a long position. So something important to recognize. We also see that the Euro US dollar is bullish with a shift in positions of 51,000, and the pound US dollar 29,000. Okay, so those are pretty big. Euro is the larger one out of the two. All right, so now let's take a look at gold, shall we? Here is gold. And you could take a look here and you'll see that over the last many weeks, we have the institutions reducing their positions, okay? They went from 355,000 all the way down to 296. Yes, you take a look at what price is doing, and price is rallying right now. But you know what? It looks like they're luring retail traders to take those long positions off of their hands. So soon, from what I'm seeing, soon retail traders are going to be stuck holding the bag here, and price is going to decline because it has to. You look at positions, they're declining, longs are declining, and price is going upwards. This price action, this move to the upside is being driven by other forces. It's not the banks, okay? The banks are maybe instigating some of this move to the upside, but it's mostly profit taking, all right? Profit taking from the banks. And that's what you can see here with the reduction from 355 down to 296,000. All right. So just be aware of that. If you are long gold up at these highs, bad time to be long. Oil, we can see longs have been cooled off. Shorts are now into cooled off territory. They were adding a little bit a couple weeks back. We got a slight drop into some demand, but besides that, there's not much going on here. If you take a look at the coloration of the cells, you can see they are pretty much neutral, okay? You look at the coloration, it's pretty much neutral. They used to be a little bit of bullishness. Now they're into more of a neutral territory, so not much going on here when you look at those positions. US dollar, longs cooled off. See that? Longs cooled off, and they have been for quite some time. Shorts cooled off, and they have been since January, all right? And what's been taking place since January? Well, let's take a look at the charts, and you can see that January to now, they've been dropping price, okay? Like I mentioned, the CFTC data and price action has not been matching very well lately, so there's definitely something else going on here. I don't know what that is, but they have not been in line with each other. Shorts are very cooled off, and yet price is dropping. All right, it's just not making much sense. So I am not using the US dollar as any type of way of determining where the markets are going to head in. What direction, I should say. All right, Aussie US dollar, take a look at this. We've been looking at this for some time, and we've seen that they have been aggressive with their shorts while price is down here. Okay, so price made a move to the downside. It has since contacted some demand down here, and now we're just coasting sideways. And they haven't really reduced those short positions in any aggressive way. They were at around 106, now at 100. It's still up there. But I do want to point out that over the last couple weeks, we see that long positions have slowly been starting to increase. Okay, if you see long positions, they were once very cooled off with positions being at around 26,000. Now they've almost, well, they've doubled that to 52,000. Okay, so is this in preparation for a move to the upside here on the Aussie? That's possible. We're looking at this area as an area for a potential short. It's a really nice area of supply. So if price was to get up there, I'd be looking for a short position. All right. All right. So look at this one. We have the US CAD. And so what do we observe? We observe that long positions have been very aggressive for quite some time. And when we look at price, we can see that price was increasing during that time that the positions were aggressive. And now we've contacted some supply. And we got an initial push to the downside, which was nice. But then price rallied back up and is contacting that supply again. Now, if you look at the short positions, you can see that there has been no increase in shorts all throughout here. No increase at all. They're still very cooled off with short positions, and longs remain aggressive. So they haven't been really doing anything with longs over the last several weeks, and they're not doing anything with shorts. So price is kind of just not doing anything. So we're waiting for some clear indication of what is going to take place next. I've mentioned before that if price was to drop into this area here, I'd be interested in going long from that area like that. Okay, but we're waiting for that drop. It hasn't happened yet. Next, U.S. dollar, U.S. dollar Swiss, and we've been talking about their short positions for quite some time. They are not thinking about shorts in the least, and they haven't been thinking about them for quite some time. And yet we still received a drop. So this is going back to what I was saying before with the US dollar. We got that bearish pressure, yet we're not seeing that they're increasing their positions on the short side. So quite interesting what's going on there. Don't know exactly why that is happening, but that is what's happening. Long positions have been the more aggressive position out of the two, which we can clearly see, but 42,000, still a long way to go from hitting the 89,000. So the bias is bullish because we have very green colored cells here. 89% of the overall exposure from the large institutions are geared to the long side. And that is what is taking place right now with the US Swiss. All right, now let's look at the euro. What is going on with the euro? So, euro, it came into that area of supply that I was mentioning, and it broke through it. Okay, we opened up a short, it didn't work, stop was hit. We had our stop right above that area of supply. It didn't hold, so there was no push to the downside. So now we're going to sit on the sidelines and just wait, because there was a good chance for that price to drop from that supply, but it decided to remove it. Now, yes, they are adding, over the last few weeks, they are adding to their longs, which is becoming more aggressive. And if we take a look at their short positions, they had 238,000. And over the many weeks, we could see that they've been declining those short positions, okay? So that pretty much brings their positions to 52% long and 48% short, all right? Not much of a bias there when we look at that, okay? Yes, the net positions is telling us that there is a slight bullish bias right over here, but that's nothing, okay? 52% long is really nothing. So there's no clear indication of what price is going to do at this point. With that supply being taken out, price is now basing. So we could see in the near future either price go up or price dropping. It could do either or. All right, so we're not going to speculate and take a trade when it can go 50-50 either direction. It just would not make sense to do that. So we'll wait for it to play out and see what takes place after that. Now we have the pound. Pound is sitting inside supply, and it's still holding that supply, unlike the euro US dollar where it broke through. This one's been holding quite nicely. And so long positions, you can see they've been aggressively accumulating them over the last several weeks. And at the same time, shorts, they've been declining them, okay? 81,000, now 65,000. And this was as price was rallying. So it does make sense that that is what would be happening as price is rallying up into that area of supply. So what's next? Well, the supply was taken out on the euro, but supply is holding here. So there is a slight bias of price moving to the downside simply because it is holding that area of supply. But anything can really happen here. I don't like the odds, okay? The odds are not really good. When we look at the percentages, what do we see? 59% geared to the long side, 41% to the short side. There's a slight bullish bias, just slight, because, look at the positions over the last few 3 weeks. They've been increasing net positions into the positive side. So there's a slight bullish bias, but not something that I personally would want to be trading. All right, let's look at the US dollar Japanese yen. So we have been mentioning that long or short positions have been reaching a new maximum size, 183,000. That was huge. I told you that they could have driven price lower. And so they did ever so slightly. But now they started to take profits on those short positions. So we got to be watchful of this because with shorts starting to decline, that could present a situation where price is going to go upwards, okay? Now, remember on the euro US dollar, we were saying 50% chance it can do any direction, go in any direction when we just look at the data on that chart and look at the technicals. This is indicating that likely the euro could drop. And it's interesting because the pound US dollar is in supply, so that could drop. So the odds increase of a drop. And because they are starting to take profits on short positions, it indicates to us that we're likely going to see this momentum push to the upside from here, okay? But it would be fueled only by profit taking on short positions, because if you look at long positions, they're not accumulating longs, okay? Right now, longs are very cooled off. Look at that, 42,000, okay? So it'd be fueled by profit taking on short positions. All right, let's take a look at the Kiwi dollar. What do we see here? Shorts are very aggressive. Remember, they reached maximum size. And lo and behold, look what the banks are doing. They're profit taking on their positions. Isn't that interesting that they'd profit take on the Kiwi and the US dollar at the same time? Yes, I find that interesting. Let's take a look at long positions. Long positions are very cooled off. So again, similar predicament, all right? If there's going to be a move to the upside, it's going to be fueled by profit taking from short positions, okay? So at least we've already started to see a rally there, okay? So we could likely see more of a rally up to this area. But then we got to be watchful because remember, there's an area of supply, okay, on the Aussie dollar, and we could definitely see a push down from that area once it gets up there. All right, so these are the things I'm going to be watching for as we go further. All right, that's it. Another week has gone by. I hope you enjoyed this class or this session. I do want to mention that we have a class that we have begun. It's a CFTC Masterclass. Everybody wants to know, how do we do this analysis? How do we figure out what price is going to do based on the data? Now, I only give you a brief snapshot of the analysis that we do in these sessions that I post on YouTube, but if you want to join our school at whiteoakfx.com, you can take part in this masterclass that we've been doing each and every week, every Monday afternoon, 11 a.m. We dig deep for about an hour into the previous release of the data or the latest release of the data, and we are teaching you how to look at the data and discover what is price going to do. All right. So if you want to learn from the best in the business, whiteoakfx.com. Thanks. You take care. We'll talk to you later.